And now imagine people in the capital being in such dire straits that they have to rely on parcels of food from the Red Cross. Sounds like something not from London but from the developing world, doesn't it? That's what happened to some residents at the Strawberry Vale estate in North London because they haven't had their regular cooking, heating and hot water supply. They've had to spend several weeks without gas, and although the landlords have now provided electric appliances to some, but not all of the residents, tenants say they are too expensive to run. Our intrepid reporter Anna Renil has been to the estate. Red Cross, Anna? Really?
I know, hard to believe, isn't it? I could barely believe it either, but it's true. The Red Cross, along with the local church, has been providing hot meals for people in the evenings and at weekends for the 600-plus residents on the Strawberry Vale estate in East Finchley. Just to tell you a bit about the estate, I'm told it's in the 1% of most deprived communities in the country. Lots of people there are elderly, vulnerable and on benefits. Most of them, but not all of them, are on this communal heating system, and that's not the problem. Well, not for most of them anyway. But they all get their cooking gas from the same source, and that source suffered a breakdown in mid-December, meaning that it eventually got switched off. And this meant that residents couldn't cook or warm up their meals, and the local church and the Red Cross had to step in. Ward Councillor Alison Moore was one of those helping out.
There was a real issue around families and older people particularly, the combination of the Red Cross, who I gather have worked with Peabody in other situations, and the Resident Association and the local church group were cooking and serving meals over the weekend lunchtimes and during the evenings during the week. But yes, finding the Red Cross was a bit of a challenge. But actually, yes, this is London and it's the 21st century, and it's pretty shocking that we're in this situation.
Oh, yes, it is. What have the residents been saying?
Well, the thing is that a lot of them have now been given this plug-in electric hob, but not all have been given them yet. And actually, some people have been told they'll have to wait a number of weeks and they won't have anything to cook on until then. But residents are coming to terms with the fact that they might never get their gas back, that these electric hobs are what they're going to have to cook on till Peabody, the landlord, manages to get in a more permanent electric cooker, because the gas may never now be switched on at all. And I bumped into a couple of elderly residents and I asked them how it was affecting them.
We've had no gas. The pressure started going low just before Christmas, and I had a disastrous Christmas dinner. You know, you don't know what to believe. You don't know who to believe.
But they've given us a Belling, a little 2-ring thing, which takes ages to heat up. I've got a key meter, and so I pay as I go, and I've actually put an extra £20 in since all this started.
Well, I said most of the properties are on this communal heating system. Some of them aren't, and that means they rely on this gas source for their heating as well. One of them is Atike Guru. She is a mum of 5 children without any heating.
My boiler broke down and they couldn't fix it for over 2 weeks. And then they realised there was a problem with the gas, so then the gas got turned off. So that I've been without over 4 weeks now. Wow. And I've just been supplied this last week.
Which is, just explain what that is, because obviously we can't see it on the radio.
What's it called?
The electric ring.
Yeah, to do your cooking. Yeah. You know, the 2 stove things, and that's about it.
So you've just got 2 single ones here.
Yeah. And they've given me these little heating things, which rises up the electricity but doesn't heat the house that much.
What, like the little plug-in heaters?
Yeah, plug-in heaters. So I gave them back because they gave me 4 or 5 of them. But then if I open all of them, the electricity shuts down. The longer it takes, the worse it is for me, because financially I can't afford it anyway. It's coming out of my pockets, but I don't have hardly any in my pockets to give out constantly. It's just excuse after excuse, and they're just blaming everybody else.
How much is it costing you extra then, would you say, for the passport?
150 a week. This is extra. This is not just within 4 weeks. This is every week, 150 extra is coming out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is an awful lot.
Yeah, and this is not money I can afford.
Stay with us, Anna. Let's just talk to Shona Perkins. Shona's the treasurer of the Strawberry Vale Residents Association. Shona, thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Pleasure, Eddie. Can you hear me?
Well, yeah, I can. It sounds like residents are pretty fed up, and it sounds to me, listening to that audio, as though they're not sure who to believe.
Yes, it's that. The reason for that is because we've been given varying accounts of what's gone on. We were initially told that the problem was due to a faulty meter, and that's actually been confirmed by National Grid. The meter was replaced by I believe Peabody, and the gas, as far as National Grid are concerned, can be switched back on because the faulty element has been replaced. Peabody then changed their stance and said actually the problem was with the supply and that they couldn't rely on the supply anymore, and the supply comes from National Grid. So we went back to National Grid and we asked them what their position was with regards to this, and I've actually received a letter from them today confirming in writing that there is no problem with the supply. And in fact, the problem was with the meter. The meter's been replaced and they see no reason why the gas can't be switched back on.
Well, this is a statement that we've got. And it says that we're sorry for the inconvenience and disruption caused to residents at Strawberry Vale who don't have the gas to their hobs and cookers. Last week, we took the decision to transfer all homes to electric cooking appliances as we believe this will provide the best long-term solution. We've provided homes with temporary electric cookers and hobs. We'll be installing free electric cookers and hobs to homes that need them, but this will take time. We're continuing to listen to feedback from residents so that we can support them through this change. This involves providing temporary cookers and hobs, providing practical help with their bills and installing new electric cooking appliances for free.
Well, I mean, they're saying that they want the best long-term solution, but the best long-term solution for who? I've been listening to residents that are disabled and on benefits and struggling financially, and whilst a free cooker may appear to be a benefit, to actually run that electric cooker is a financial burden on people that just can't afford it. These people are genuinely struggling.
What's the next step, Shona?
Put the gas back on. They say that there's a problem with the supply, or they've said there's various problems, and we've asked for evidence. If the gas is unsafe, nobody wants it switched back on, of course. We don't want to create an unsafe environment, but we want the truth. And we don't believe that there is a problem with the supply, and we want the gas switched back on, or a very good reason why not.
Shona, we'll stay on this for you. Anna's still with me. Why wouldn't Peabody come on?
I don't know. They sent us through that statement that you just read out there. And in fact, I got in touch with them again about 15, 20 minutes before we come on air saying, look, we're talking about this with residents at 5:10. Residents expect to hear from you. Please come on and talk about it, at some point during the show. I haven't heard anything.
And you're getting some tweets, literally, as we're on air.
Yeah, tweets from National Grid saying, our gas network is operating at the correct pressure with no faults at the Strawberry Vale estate, at Annie reporting at Peabody London. So, they're obviously want to make sure that everybody knows that they're doing their job. Yeah. That's what that message is from that.
Don't leave this one. Let's give this one a drive time treatment and find out, because people are worried, and long term, certainly, Mrs. Nestor decides that she's going to plug in the electric heater, and I watch that thing turn that off. So it is going to cost a lot more.
Imagine if you had one in every room.
BBC Radio London on a frequency of 94.9. More stories to come, I do promise you. First, let's find out how those roads are doing from Billy Reeves.
More than 600 residents in North London have had food parcels delivered from the Red Cross after they spent several weeks without cooking facilities. The gas supply at the Strawberry Vale estate in East Finchley was turned off in mid-December because of a fault, and now their landlord, Peabody, says it won't be switched back on. Peabody has now provided electric appliances to the tenants on the estate, who claim they're too expensive to run. Lawrence Williamson is the chair of the Strawberry Vale Residents Association.
Peabody are ultimately responsible, and we want the gas supply turned back on, and so far we can't see any reason why they're not doing it. The National Grid have assured us, and I've personally attended 2 site visits by their engineers testing the gas supply, who on both occasions they've confirmed that there is nothing wrong with the gas supply to the estate.
On a story we brought you just after 5 today about residents on Strawberry Vale estate in East Finchley. Lots of elderly and vulnerable people live on the estate, and they've been left without gas to cook with since mid-December. Now, the situation was so bleak they've even had the Red Cross in delivering food parcels. We talked to Anna O'Neill about it before. They've been effectively passed on to electricity, or using electricity, the rings. There are arguments about whether there's a a blockage. The residents don't believe what they're being told, and I've asked you, haven't I, to go off and give it the drive time treatment. and certainly we've had Peabody, who run the estate or whatever, have given us a statement.
Yeah.
But we wondered why they wouldn't talk to us. What have we got? What's the update?
When we were on air last time, National Grid were tweeting me, weren't they, saying that let's have a look. They said our gas network is operating at the correct pressure with no faults at the Strawberry Vale estate. It's because the issue is it about National Grid and their supply of the gas, or is it about something faulty on the estate, a meter that can be fixed by the landlord, which in this case is the Peabody estate, and therefore the gas supply can be reinstated?
There may have been a problem, but there isn't now.
Well, that's what residents are saying, yeah. So last few minutes, one of the local councillors has got in touch with me to say that he's just got off the phone with Peabody, and they've got a bit of an update for us.
OK, so we can speak to Councillor Alan Orbach now. Councillor, thank you so much for getting involved. I mean, these are some very vulnerable people, and they didn't appear to be getting answers to the questions. What's the latest?
This is a really painful situation where, and I've made that clear in my communication with Peabody. So myself and my fellow councillors, Councillor Mitra and Councillor Moore, have been busy trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. I think, in short, there's a real issue of poor communication by Peabody here, and we've made that clear to them, that they've made a decision without properly informing residents as to the reasons behind it to switch off the gas. So they're originally saying there's a safety issue, that's why the gas was switched off, and that is understandable. But the decision that was made this week to basically not reconnect the gas and to say everyone has to move to electric cooking is the one that's in real contention. And what Peabody assured me today, after seeing your piece and exchanges on Twitter, is that they will appoint an independent expert to verify their claims as to why it is not safe. But the fact that there was attribution to National Grid, and that clearly seems to be disputed by National Grid, I think understandably means people have a real lack of trust as to why this decision was made.
What's your guess the outcome might be on this? I
think I don't like being cynical, and I really hope that there is a genuine safety reason behind Peabody's decision. However, if it is the issue of the distribution of gas around Strawberry Vale, around the estate, there's a real question as to how long has this been going on for, and because it's been 6 years since we've had the last gas problem in Strawberry Vale. Is this a recent problem that's arisen? And also, how can they test the issue with the supply without actually having the supply enabled? At the moment, it's switched off at the distribution to people's flats is entirely switched off. How can they verify that is the fault without gas going through the network? So, I mean, what I urge Peabody to do is to be more open about their reasoning. They understandably have difficult decisions to make. They need to take care of safety of residents across the estate. But by not being open and upfront as to what the fault is, by having pointing the finger at National Grid and National Grid saying it's not us, Gov, they've put themselves in a pickle of people not trusting the decision.
OK, Councillor, we'll leave it then. Anna, I mean, we've got to stay on this and make sure that we get some kind of positive outcome, because trust seems to have broken down. And at the very least, I think the Councillor is absolutely right. Peabody may not have been as good with their communications as they might have liked. And perhaps if they follow the advice of some of the people tweeting us about this today, then Peabody and National Grid will talk together about how they might resolve the situation, and hopefully we'll get some movement on this. Thanks so much, Anna. I appreciate it. BBC Radio London's Anna O'Neill, working for us on Drive Time. I mean, look, we get stories like that. Yeah, they're the big stories and the world's coming to an end and all of that. But actually, as a local radio station, we really focus on where there is injustice or where there are things that are being done that we might be able to help with. So if something's being done that you think London should be hearing about this, we need some help because they won't listen to us. I can't promise that we'll do all of the stories, but I promise we'll do our best. So why don't you send your email to Eddie.Nestor, that's November Echo Sierra Tango Oscar Romeo, at bbc.co.uk.